Imagine the greatest prize in sports, the FIFA World Cup, sitting on a pedestal in a European city. The confetti has settled. The trophy glints under the stadium lights. But look closely at the engraving. For over 60 years, there's been a name missing. We all know football is a global game, but a quiet, almost statistical curse has hung over the planet's biggest tournament. We're not talking about a curse like a hex placed on a player. We're talking about a geographical barrier that has, for decades, been almost impossible to break. And it leads to one simple, provocative question. Why has no South American team been able to win the World Cup in Europe in over 6 decades? And more importantly, why is it almost certainly not going to happen in the 2030s either? Before we dive into the numbers and the brutal history, if you love digging into the untold stories behind the game, the stats, the curses, the what-ifs that nobody talks about, then hit that subscribe button right now. We break down football like nobody else, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's get into it. To understand this, we have to go back, way back. In 1958, a 17-year-old named Pelé burst onto the scene, leading Brazil to their first-ever World Cup title on Swedish soil. It was a moment of history, the coronation of a new king of football. But what seemed like the start of a global takeover was, in fact, the end of a dream for an entire continent. Since that day in Sweden, the World Cup has returned to Europe 10 times. And the trophy has stayed there. Think about that for a second. In the decades since, we've seen Brazil win 5 World Cups, Argentina win 3, but all of those triumphs happened elsewhere, in the Americas, in Asia, not in Europe. The numbers are staggering. European teams and South American teams have won every single World Cup, trading the trophy back and forth like a heavyweight title belt. But when the fight moves to Europe, it's a different story entirely. In the 11 World Cup finals that have pitted a South American nation against a European one, South America has won 8 of them. They usually win the big one. But when that final is in Europe, there's a brutal reality. Only twice in history has a South American team even been the runner-up in a European World Cup. Brazil in '98 and Argentina in '90. That's it. Out of 10 tournaments, the best they could do was second place. The one and only exception, the single, solitary success story, remains Pelé's Brazil in 1958. It's a drought that has lasted almost 70 years. Now, you might think this is just a coincidence, but football analysts and historians point to some massive geographical hurdles that act as an invisible wall. First, think about the climate. The World Cup is typically played in June and July. That's the height of summer in Europe. For players in Europe, that's their natural rhythm. But for players coming from South America, they're arriving from the middle of winter. It's a drastic shift, going from cold, short days to long, hot European evenings. It messes with the body's clock, the sleep cycles, the physical output. It's like playing a night game when your body thinks it's 3 a.m. Then, there's the psychological edge of playing in a hostile environment. When you're a South American team playing in Europe, you're not just playing against the other team, you're playing against the entire stadium, the culture, the media pressure, and a history that says you can't win. It's a mental fortress, as much as a physical one. We saw this rule play out brutally in Russia in 2018. When Brazil was knocked out in the quarterfinals by Belgium, it meant that no South American team would even make the Final Four. It was over. The statistics stood. Fast forward to the 2026 World Cup held in North America. South American teams had a resurgence. Argentina triumphed, proving they are the undisputed kings of the world. But it just reaffirms the rule. The home continent advantage. So, what does this mean for the future? You might have heard of the South Hemisphere curse, the idea that European teams struggled to win in the Southern Hemisphere. That was broken in 2010 when Spain won in South Africa. But the South American curse in Europe, that one has proven to be unbreakable. Given this ironclad statistic, the question for the next European World Cup is not if a South American team can win it. It's a question of whether they can even make the final. The pressure on players from Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay to overcome this historical weight is immense. And if you look at the modern game, Europe's tactical depth, squad depth, and financial power are just growing. It creates an even steeper hill for South American teams to climb. So, when the World Cup heads back to Europe, don't just look at the star players on the South American teams. Look at the weather forecast. Look at the travel schedule. Look at the history. The game is played on the grass, but it's won in the mind and in the body. The drought has lasted nearly 70 years, and with the way European football is structured, it's hard to see it ending anytime soon. It's a geographical mountain that might just be too high to climb. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think a South American team will ever break this curse in Europe? Or is it a permanent feature of the World Cup? Drop your take in the comments, and while you're down there, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got plenty more football mysteries to unravel. See you in the next one.